RichardVReeves, of Boys and Men, Why the Modern Male is Struggling, Why It Matters, and What to Do About It. In Of Boys and Men, Why the Modern Male is Struggling, Why It Matters, and What to Do About It, RichardVReeves embarks on an insightful exploration of the shifting terrain regarding the gender dynamics that are affecting men today. As the scales of educational achievement have tilted, with girls outperforming boys from grade school through higher education, Reeves delves into why this disparity exists and how it translates into long-term economic and social challenges for men. The book examines the multifaceted issues males face, from brain development and educational structures to declining occupational status and social roles, especially the diminishing influence of fatherhood. Readers will explore practical solutions like educational reforms, the encouragement of vocational training, and introducing redshirting to empower boys and create more equitable opportunities. This summary unravels these critical themes, providing a comprehensive lens into an issue that affects societal well-being at large.
Reversing gender inequality. A rapid and unexpected shift in education has transformed the gender landscape. Initially, efforts in the 1970s and 1980s targeted closing a significant educational gender gap that favored males. The outcome was more than anticipated: gender parity was achieved, and then exceeded, with females now outpacing males in academic achievements. Today's data from the United States paints a compelling picture. Girls consistently excel beyond boys in English and have reached equality in math. Among top academic performers, females account for 2/3, while males dominate the lower end. This trend stretches into higher education, where women enroll and graduate from college at much higher rates than men. These developments reveal a new kind of gender inequality. The gap in college degree attainment has surpassed the inequalities addressed by 1972's pivotal anti-discrimination law, reshaping long-term educational and economic prospects for both sexes. At the heart of this shift are differences in brain development. Neuroscientific studies suggest the prefrontal cortex, which influences planning and impulse control, matures 1 to 2 years later in boys. Females experience earlier puberty, stimulating these critical brain areas earlier. Such biological factors have laid bare a flaw in the education system. Schools tend to reward skills like persistence, homework completion, and planning, which align more closely with the developmental timeline of females. This system inadvertently disadvantages boys, a reality obscured when societal norms had limited girls' aspirations. With these barriers lowered, the focus now sharpens on how educational structures may inherently favor females, compelling society to reassess how true equality can be achieved for both genders in education. Reforming education for boys. Reforming the educational system is crucial to enhance boys' success, particularly as girls have surged ahead in key academic areas over the years. This change signals a necessity for tailored educational strategies that account for gender-specific developmental differences. Boys generally experience slower brain development than girls, suggesting they might benefit from starting school a year later to match their developmental stage with that of their female peers, potentially bridging early educational gaps. Additionally, the teaching workforce's gender imbalance, with only 24% male teachers, down from 33% in the 1980s, might impact the learning environment and behavioral norms. Increasing the number of male teachers could offer boys relatable role models and present diverse perspectives in education, catering more effectively to their needs. Vocational education and hands-on learning also demand investment. The current education model in the U.S. leans heavily toward academic success, which doesn't suit all students, specifically many boys who excel in practical and applied learning settings. Expanding vocational training and apprenticeships could open multiple success avenues, particularly for boys and men veering away from traditional academic routes. This diversified educational approach is urgent for economically disadvantaged males who often find the one-size-fits-all academic model ill-suited to their circumstances. A comprehensive understanding of developmental psychology, a strategic reconfiguration of the teaching workforce, and broadened educational pathways are vital. Such changes are important to develop a more inclusive system that recognizes and nurtures the unique potential and needs of all students, regardless of gender. These modifications could make education equitable, addressing the foundational disparities that challenge boys and men today. Men's economic challenges. In recent decades, the economic landscape has not been kind to men, particularly those from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. For major factors illustrate this shift: diminishing wages, employment issues, declining occupational status, and the slowdown in skill acquisition. For many men, wage growth has stagnated, with present-day earnings falling behind the levels seen in 1979. This stagnation directly relates to broader economic tides that disproportionately affect male workers. The job market has also seen a concerning decline in male participation. An alarming number of 9 million working-age American men are no longer in the workforce, reflecting and fueling broader economic fragility. Alongside this, there has been a drop in the prestige of jobs typically held by men. Traditional roles that once offered stability are dwindling, pushing many into lower status positions. Compounding this issue is the noticeable decline in educational and skill achievements among men, crucial elements for navigating a competitive job market and securing well-paying opportunities. These economic challenges are deepening the class and gender divides, particularly affecting lower-income groups and minorities, such as Black boys and men. While sectors like STEM are encouraging more female participation, there is a glaring lack of initiatives for men in HEAL occupations: health, education, administration, and literacy. This is particularly troubling as these sectors are expected to grow faster than STEM fields, generating 3 times as many jobs by 2030. Worryingly, HEAL professions are becoming heavily gender-skewed, with dwindling male representation. Take psychology, for example. Only 5% of professional psychologists and psychiatrists under 30 are male, indicating a trend towards a nearly exclusive female presence in this field. To combat these trends, a strategic approach that acknowledges the dual challenges of gender and economic pressures is necessary. Increasing male involvement in HEAL sectors, which are vital to our society's health and economic vitality, must be prioritized. Achieving gender equilibrium across all professions is key to fostering a diverse and equitable workforce that mirrors the needs of the future. Redefining fatherhood. There's a growing issue impacting society: a deficit of dads. In modern families, especially among boys and men, this struggle is evident. Many experts now reference a societal dad deficit, highlighting the troubling trend of father absence and its ramifications on families and society as a whole. In the United States, 25% of fathers don't live with their children, and a troubling 33% of kids lose contact with their fathers a few years post-separation. Additionally, 40% of children are born to unmarried parents, particularly those with less education, necessitating a re-evaluation of traditional father roles. Simultaneously, the economic landscape is shifting, liberating but also challenging women's traditional roles. Over 2/5 of U.S. households have women as the primary earners, and 40% of American women out-earn the average man. While this empowerment offers women more choices, it also raises tough questions about fathers' evolving roles in families. The historical view of fathers as the primary breadwinners is fast becoming outdated, leading to scenarios where some men opt out of family life altogether. This dilemma extends beyond individual families, having a broader societal impact, especially on male children. Boys without a strong father figure experience more difficulties compared to their female peers in education and finding work in the future. This creates a cycle of disadvantage that urgently needs addressing. The path forward involves reinventing fatherhood beyond just financial support. Redefining fatherhood means focusing on emotional involvement, presence, and active participation in their children's lives. Cultural, social, and legislative measures must support men in embracing these meaningful roles, whether married or not, and regardless of their economic standing. The transformation of fatherhood mirrors broader economic and societal shifts, and addressing this issue is pivotal for nurturing healthier future generations. By ensuring every child has supportive and guided upbringing, society as a whole stands to benefit regardless of varied family dynamics. Crisis of masculinity. Deaths of despair shed light on a profound crisis of masculinity. Men face escalating challenges in education, work, and family life, leading to dire impacts on health and well-being. Alarming rates of suicides, overdoses, and alcohol-related deaths, especially rising among middle-aged and younger men, signal a deep societal issue. Men feel increasingly redundant in traditional roles, fostering a haunting sense of worthlessness and isolation. Research by sociologist Fiona Chan uncovers that feelings of being useless permeate the last words of many men who attempted or committed suicide, highlighting the psychological depth of this crisis. The opioid epidemic starkly illustrates this dilemma, disproportionately affecting men. Loss of familial roles and economic instability lead to loneliness, escalating the risk of opioid abuse. This cycle of disconnection traps many men in a loop of despair, underscoring the need for cultural change. Society must recognize and embrace shifting male roles, fostering spaces for renewed purpose and inclusion. Joint efforts by both men and women are essential to redefining societal norms and expectations to prevent male disenfranchisement. Failing to address these issues threatens to undermine the societal fabric. Holistic strategies are necessary, drawing from education reforms, labor policy adjustments, community support initiatives, and healthcare systems attuned to men's unique needs. Together, these efforts can cultivate environments where men find validation and integration, breaking free from the despair that threatens both individual lives and society at large. Delay for success. Introducing school to boys a year later than the current standard could revolutionize educational success for them. This approach, known as redshirting, is borrowed from a sports strategy where athletes temporarily sit out to build their skills. The logic is straightforward: older boys in a grade tend to do better academically and socially. Evidence shows these benefits are significant, making redshirting an increasingly popular option among informed parents, particularly those with affluent backgrounds. However, there's a glaring disparity. Boys often redshirted already display slightly above average skills, leaving behind peers who could benefit more from this head start, like those from lower income or diverse backgrounds. By instituting redshirting as a universal practice specifically for boys, this gap could begin to close, addressing prominent developmental differences that become stark by middle and high school. Delaying the start of school isn't just about age, it's about providing boys with the maturity needed to thrive in later academic years. The advantages stretch across various facets of school life: reduced hyperactivity, better academic performances, higher life satisfaction, and fewer grade retentions. Older students yield striking improvements in test scores, a trend even more pronounced among boys who also show substantial gains through 8th grade and beyond. The positive impact often extends to peers, creating a nurturing classroom environment. Furthermore, redshirting could help level the educational playing field, particularly for Black boys and those from lower-income backgrounds, who face greater risks of grade retention. These findings suggest a profound potential in redefining educational start times as a policy change to foster both gender and socioeconomic equity. Implementing universal redshirting for boys could provide them with a solid foundation for both academic and personal success. This strategy not only spearheads a transformative shift in education but also addresses the broader systemic issues that undermine boys' educational and economic futures due to historical norms favoring girls, whose brains typically develop earlier. Such a restructured approach promises to meet the needs of boys more adequately, offering them a fairer chance to thrive and reduce marked disparities across gender and income.
RichardVReeves, of Boys and Men, presents a compelling case for acknowledging and addressing the unique challenges faced by modern males. The book drives home the point that disparities in educational systems, economic status, and shifting societal norms disproportionately burden men, leaving them vulnerable to a wider crisis affecting their mental health and societal roles. By advocating for educational reforms such as delaying school entry, increasing vocational training opportunities, and promoting balanced gender representation in various professions, the book recommends transformative actions to bridge gender divides. Furthermore, it stresses the importance of redefining fatherhood and societal roles to reintegrate males meaningfully into family and community life. Ultimately, Of Boys and Men implores society to adopt inclusive strategies that ensure future generations of boys and men can thrive amidst these evolving dynamics, fostering a healthier and more balanced social structure for everyone.